Thank you for joining us. And we start in Texas, where local authorities say more than 100 people have been killed by floods over the July 4th weekend. A number of people are still unaccounted for now. And as the search for any potential survivors continues, there are new questions being raised over the emergency alerts that were supposed to warn local residents of those dangerous conditions. One resident described the dire choice he and his wife had to make as their home was destroyed by floodwaters.
I grabbed my wife and we literally jumped in the water and it swept us down to about 200 feet down that way. And there's a crepe myrtle tree that we grabbed hold of and we waited for rescue.
We are also following news out of Washington. The White House announced it is delaying the Wednesday deadline for trading partners to reach new trade deals until August 1st. It is also warning some U.S. allies that tariffs will be higher if no deals are reached. And the president is welcoming Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House. It will be the first face-to-face meeting for the two leaders since the U.S. joined Israel in attacking Iran's nuclear facilities. Trump and Netanyahu are looking to make progress on talks with Iran and Israel's war in Gaza. But we want to begin our report with the devastating floods in Texas. CBS News correspondent Nidia Cavazos is in Kerrville, the area hardest hit. Let's begin with the developments out of the storms in Texas. Nidia, can you talk to us about the conditions on the ground right now?
Nancy, at this hour, search and rescue efforts are underway. It's multiple agencies involved at the federal, state, and local level. The rescuers have told CBS News they're working around the clock. Time is ticking here. It's very critical. And they're working under the assumption that people are still alive and searching for any potential sign of life. But we are also just receiving confirmation just a few minutes ago that the death toll in Texas has yet again risen, and it has now topped 100. Over 100 people have officially now lost their lives as a result of this catastrophic flooding that occurred over the 4th of July weekend here in Texas.
All right, Nidia Cavazos, thank you very much for your reporting. And let's go now to CBS News national weather correspondent Rob Marciano. And Rob, there have been some concerns about staffing and budget cuts at the National Weather Service. Do we know if that played a role in how this storm was forecasted?
Well, Nancy, hard to say exactly what happened during that entire time, but the National Weather Service has confirmed that they usually have 2 forecasters that stay on an overnight shift. They actually upped the staffing to 5 as the forecast looked like it was going to become one more dire. Now, that said, there are a couple of big positions that are vacant right now, one being the warning coordination meteorologist. That person's job is to communicate with local officials and kind of give them a heads up if there's something like this that's happening. Not sure if that happened. Where they did not cut in this area were the weather balloons. In some areas, they've been limited to just once a day. Here near San Angelo, they did it twice that day. And in the morning, they measured some of the near record amounts of humidity in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So that got them to raise the flag for the flash flood watch that was issued at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then the rains developed later on that night. And that sort of scenario in that area after that drought, that sort of rainfall was not good.
Can you talk more about the timeline of this storm? How did this all unfold?
I mean, it started like last week when we had tropical storm, very, very weak tropical storm. Some of that moisture got up into Texas eventually, and then a little disturbance really ran those thunderstorms over the same area time and time again. As far as when the warnings were issued, that happened mostly after midnight, around 1 o'clock in the morning. The first flash flood warning was issued. The river then ran above flood stage at 3 a.m. at Hunt, a little bit farther downstream an hour after that. And these flash flood emergencies, those warnings are serious. That's when language like evacuate to higher ground immediately comes out. But think about when this happened. In the middle of the night in a very remote area. Their phones might not have been working. Only really if they had a weather radio would they have gotten these sort of warnings. So not a good scenario, especially when it's coming in the middle of the night.
And it's not over yet. We're expecting even more bad weather in Texas this week. What are rescue teams up against when it comes to the forecast?
I think we've had some bouts of rain the past day and a half, and the river's going up and down just a little bit. We still have a little bit more rain to deal with here. We've got flood watches that are out for the next few hours. You can see these thunderstorms just north of Kerrville. They're beginning to diminish some. We'll have some pop-up thunderstorms that may influx the river later on this week. But generally speaking, it's not going to be nearly as bad as it was over the holiday weekend. Obviously, they've got a long, long way to go as far as recovery and cleanup.
Absolutely. Rob, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you very much.
You bet.